They certainly did take their chances, and as he said, he had the worst possible start. But at 1-0, they were behind for just over 2 minutes. Try for us and describe Manchester United's defending for that equaliser.
Where the hell do I start here, Steve? I mean, it's just so bad defending. We know they've got a problem in the centre of defence. You're 2 minutes. You've just got a dream start. You've gone ahead. Now, Maguire, where are you heading that first one? Now just head that back to the goalkeeper. He mistimes his jump, gets underneath it. Then he loses his head and he drags Luke Shaw off it. You'll see it on the replay here. First and foremost, with the first header, with Harry Maguire, where are you heading that? He's headed it straight at Bally. Then he mistimes his jump. And watch him pull Luke Shaw away from that. Just releases the ball to Ndombele and he smashes it into the net. There's just a comedy of errors there. I just cannot explain it. And this is 2 minutes after they get the dream start, Michael.
Yeah, and I think that almost has a knock-on effect for the rest of the game. If you start defending like that and you start creating nervousness around, goalkeepers all of a sudden on edge, your centre-half partner. Yeah. And as Tim says, 3 mistakes on the spin. I mean, very rare you see that with a Premier League player. Everyone can make a mistake, but 3 in the space of 5 seconds was quite scary.
You've got to be responsible. When you're playing in that position, you have to be responsible. And when it's the game management, Steve. When you've got the lead, you've got a dream start. Fernandes has got the penalty. They go ahead. You need to sit on it. You need to get to the next stage of the game, which is like half an hour. Try and get through that. But to elementary mistakes, you know, architects of their own downfall time and time again. This would have happened last week. Brighton hit the post 5 times. Ollie should have been this week looking at the mistakes and saying, look, we got away with it, guys, but we need to address these problems. It looks like they've done nothing on a training field.
OK, lots more to come back to in a moment. Yeah, big contrast in emotions to last season where he went back to Old Trafford and lost his first Tottenham game. And I just wonder, he's made a good point there, 5 home points dropped, just how important that could be in the bigger picture for Spurs.
Yeah, possibly, but I think he's building something there. You know, it was a poor home performance against Everton. Everton played very well first game of the season, and Tottenham a little bit undercooked. But on evidence of last week as well, you know, they were unlucky to not come away with maximum points against Newcastle, the penalty in the last dying minutes there. But he's building something. I mean, Daniel Levy has brought him to the football club to finish in the top 4, you know, and to perhaps win a trophy. Now, he would fancy his chances now. They're in the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup. They play Stoke in the next round. Looks like they're going to look at a semi-final. Not going to try and get ahead of myself. And then, you know, they're going to qualify through the group in the Europa League, and they've got a real chance of winning that. He's a serial winner. It'd be handy if they won something. It'd be great for the squad, maybe keeping older players like Harry Kane, who wants to pick up silverware. But the important thing, the objective is to finish in a Champions League again. And with the squad of players, what he's building there now, I think they can achieve that. Jose Mourinho has got the best knack in football management, and it's persuading the owners and the money people to spend money. He is brilliant at it, even Daniel Levy.
Great day for Tottenham. Now, where were we in this extraordinary game? We were at 1-1, weren't we? So Michael's gone to the table to tell us about how Manchester United conceded 2-1.
That's right, Steve. Well, let's look at it from an attacking point of view. It's Son's goal. Harry Kane getting a foul. He's good at this. And then I just want to sort of pick up this bit here and just say from an attacking point of view, we'll look at the defending side in a minute. If you look at Son, he can either go... He's got 3 options, really. He either goes to his right, but I think that Luke Shaw gets him. He can go straight, but again, I think Bailly probably can make a sliding tackle and get back. Or he does what he does, and he cuts across Bailly. He takes this man out the game because he's going away from him, and he takes that man out the game because he's basically saying, bring me down and get sent off if you want. And that's exactly what he does. Cuts across his man, and it's a brilliant finish in the end. Little dink over De Gea, great goal. From a defending point of view, it's very different. And I'll just run it on slowly because you've got a few different aspects here. One of these 2 players here, Wan-Bissaka or Maguire, has got to stand on the ball. Tim mentioned it at half-time. Either of them, but it's got to be one. I just run this up on a little frame. Now, who's alive to this? If I go back a tiny bit, you've got Harry Kane there. He has spotted this already. You can see he spotted what's going on. You've got this man here, Matic, that he's already pointing, and he can see it. And, of course, you've got Son. Now, if I run it on a little bit further, nobody has stopped that ball. You can see Matic still pointing, and all of a sudden the opportunity's there. So a couple of small mistakes, brilliant from Harry Kane, brilliant, of course, from Son. We looked at his contribution to the goal, but from Manchester United's point of view, easily avoidable if they do the basics right at the start.
Very interesting. So that made it 2-1. Then major talking point of the game, red card for Martial and not for Eric Lamela. Now, bearing in mind that Stuart Atwell and VAR had a look at this, can you understand this decision, Tim?
No, not at all. Eric Lamela instigates it, rolls his forearm up the chest of Martial and into his throat. Not a good angle there, and he reacts. Shouldn't react, lift his hands, always at risk of getting sent off the pitch. But look at Lamela's part in it. Look, rolls his forearm into his throat and he reacts to it. Now, for me, it's 2 yellow cards or 2 red cards. Can't have it either way. But that is embarrassing what Lamela does there. Eric Lamela, to hit the floor like that is an embarrassment. It's not a great example to young kids watching. That is not knocking him out. And he rolls around on the floor, goes down. I think it's a poor decision. I think it's 2 yellow cards. And Michael, get on with the game.
Would you like to have seen at least Stuart Atwell say to Anthony Taylor, referee, go and have a look at that?
I would, and I think it sends the wrong message as well to people that think that they can slightly get a tiny little touch and roll around and then get, the lesser of the punishment, let's say. I mean, I would have expected that before VAR. I would have expected the referee to see someone rolling, see a bit of scuffling and go, right, red card. Now we've got VAR.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to see this anymore. I thought we'd be able to clean these situations up. Thought the referee, if in any doubt, go and have a look at your monitors.
Yeah.
Certainly he should have it in his ear that, it's both players doing the same type of thing. I was astonished that only 1 red card was shown.
What we don't want to do is encourage our young kids growing up that this is the correct behaviour of Eric Lamela. But if he doesn't hit the floor, he does not send him off. He does not send him off the field. Because he makes so much of it, he decides he's going to send him off.
Surely that's why the VAR official is there.
Exactly.
Tim.
I think if he goes to the monitor, has a look at it, he either books both of them or he sends them both off, and it's even. We cannot condone that. That's why I'm trying to make an example of Eric Lamela. Can't get away with that, Eric. That is embarrassing for young kids watching. Martial can't lift his... He knows he can't raise his hands. Raise his hands, you always do it. But for me, 2 yellows. Get on with the game.
And 2 minutes later, Manchester United...
OK, so they're down to 10
10
men. Right, the philosophy is from the manager, we're going to play out. At all costs, we're going to play out from the back. Jose's done his homework. He knows exactly what to expect. But Harry Kane cannot believe. Harry Kane's thinking now, surely they're not going to pass that ball in there to Matic. Oh, no, they are. And hold on, I might get a tap in here because I'm unmarked on 8 yards out. Rolls it into the net. This is not an individual error. This is an error from the coaching team. This is a philosophy, what they're hell-bent by sticking by. But you cannot, in any coaching manual, this cannot be right. This is not right. What you're doing there, down to 10 men, you've got a team who want to press high, ready to smell blood. As soon as that ball goes in, Harry Kane could not believe his luck. He shows them the pass into Matic, and he says, surely he won't play it. As soon as he plays it, he nicks the ball back, gets himself in error to score a goal, and rolls it into the net. That is poor management. That's poor play. Look, individually, they've got to do better. Don't get me wrong. A group of international players like that. But that's the philosophy. Sometimes it has to go out the window. Game management. Get the ball forward.
That was 3-1. What about 4-1, Michael?
Yeah, well, let's take a look at 4-1. It's a very good goal, of course, from Tottenham's point of view. And we'll just roll it on and have a look at it in real time. On the tactical angle, it's a nice run. Gets in front of Lamela and sticks it in. But from the 18-yard box, I think we see it a little bit more clear. So what we've got is here. This is the problem. These 2 players. You've got Shaw and Maguire in the wrong position. One's a left-back, one's a centre-half, but they're basically taking each other's position. If I just roll it on, just have a look at this. Maguire doesn't want to be out here. The last thing he wants to be is out on his own. But when we get to around here, now, this man, Luke Shaw, has got to act like a centre-half. He has got to act like a centre-half. And if anything, he's got to make sure he drops in like a centre-half and covers the most dangerous area in the game, and that's that channel. That ball can't go through there without a centre-half clearing it. Now, what happens is if I roll it on again slowly, he's still thinking like a left-back. and he vacates that area, and I don't know where, well, I do know where he's going. He's going up to pick Harry Kane. But that's not his problem at the moment. That's his problem, as I say. We just draw this box again. This is his problem, this area. Now, Bailly has got to be switched on to him. Of course he has. And he doesn't react quick enough. In fact, he doesn't react at all. And if I just let it play on, that's exactly the area that's vacated, is exactly the area that the goal is scored in. So, not a mix-up, but sometimes you do get pulled out of position. You've got to know the basics of your mate's position. If you're Luke Shaw and you're swapping position, you need to know how to defend like a centre half. You are a defender after all. He vacates a position, and Bailly, Tim, I mean, well, it's a catalogue.
You see Sonny's eyes light up. He says, surely Luke Shaw is not going to vacate this area where I can go. As soon as he moves out, he changes gear. Son just moves into that near post area and just taps it into the net. And where's De Gea, by the way? Is he ever going to make a save?
And then we mentioned at half-time with McTominay and Fred coming on, it was damage limitation, but they still conceded it again. Avoidable?
Well, most goals, Steve, are avoidable. Tottenham did play well. They have got an extra man. They have got world-class players. This is brilliant play from them. I mean, we can pick it apart. Pogba probably the guilty man. Again, Shaw gets lulled into going into there with Moura, but then once he does that, Pogba's got to realise that there's a man running in behind and he doesn't track his runner. So, yes, Manchester United could avoid it, but at this point, any little mistake is going to be punished by the extra man.
And then Pogba involved again with the awarding of the penalty for the 6th goal.
At this stage, Steve, you saw the pictures there. They started to feel sorry for himself. You're playing for one of the biggest teams in the world, and you have to play with a certain amount of pride. But at this stage, it was so poor. They were just playing their own games. There was no pattern. Yes, it was a damage limitation, but you need to get some pride out of the game. He slides in, his momentum, he cannot stop himself, and Davis, quite rightly, lets him run into him with his body, and Harry Kane was never, ever going to miss the penalty.
And what do you think, he's got an awful lot to think about, so what do you think the ramifications could be for this for Manchester United?
Well, I think very serious. I really do. I think at this stage, they're obviously don't trust Ollie in the transfer market. They're not spending the money. The signings, what he's made, Fernandes has been outstanding, big tick. Wan-Bissaka was OK, but he started to be very poor this year. Maguire's very poor, in my opinion, and Daniel James. So 1 out of 4, which has been a big tick, huge tick, Fernandes. No problem with that. But 1 out of 4 is not a good return. And are you improving any other players? I don't think he is. I don't think he's getting the best out of this squad of players. There's someone out there, like Mauricio Pochettino, you don't have to spend any compensation for. He will improve this group of players immediately. So they have got question marks. Look, I don't want anyone to lose their job. I've been in that position myself. He finished 3rd last season. You'd have to say, who's going to catch Man City? Who's going to catch Liverpool? 3rd is acceptable. But as Mo said at the top of the show, is there been an improvement from last year to this year? And on current evidence, you would say it is very bad. And there is someone out there who I know can improve them, and they're available. So what do? Do you spend money? They're not obviously going to spend the money. You can change the manager. Too soon they change managers. It's far too often. But in this regard, I think it might be an option.
OK, we're talking about spending money. When you look at the starting 11 today for Manchester United, this is interesting because when we're talking about needing players, Michael, when you look at the total there of those fees, £460 million that team cost, and then over 120 on the bench as well. So it's Tim's point there that there's nearly a £200 million defence there as well, by the way. Tim's point there, the players, are they there? They should be doing better.
Yes, for sure. I mean, if anyone tells me there's not world-class players in that team that shouldn't be doing better, then I would be strongly disagreeing with them. I think that Tim's right in that the manager in this situation has got to improve what he's got. He's got to get the best out of players, and you can go through that whole team, and I'd say there's 8 or 9 of them that you think could be doing better, There's only 1 or 2 that are playing to their maximum, and that's been the case.
And what's the reason for that?
Well, that's got to go back to the manager. We can talk about individual errors, but it's got to be the manager's responsibility to get the best out of the players, whether it's tactically, whether it's putting their arm around someone, whether it's giving someone a telling off, whatever goes on behind the scenes, whatever he does, he's got to get the best out of players. And at the moment, if I was the chairman, if I was the owner, I would be nervous spending another 100 million, another 200 million, because how many times are Man United going to do that? Just, oh, there's a problem, let's throw millions at it. Let's throw more millions at it. And I know fans are desperate for big money signings because it gets everyone excited. But unless you get the basics right, unless you've got a plan, unless you've got a system, unless you're getting the best out of the current players, how can you then be trusted to spend another 200 million? It beggars belief. And that's the first thing they've got to get right. Get the best out of the current players before you start looking into someone else's garden.
Interesting. We're talking of the Manchester United manager. When we come back, he was very honest there, Tim. He actually held his hands up. And as the coaching staff, where do they start to try and react to that?
Last week, maybe Crystal Palace. There's been so much wrong from the start of the season, and so much. We sat here last week, guys, and we were saying we're so passive. You know, out of possession. They're not getting tired. Luke Shaw's going a yard away from someone. Then it comes across and Maguire's standing off people. The midfield are not getting in contention. The defenders are defending so deep. The midfield can't push up higher. There's no one pressing from the front. Rashford's not triggering it. We see Fernandes flying in, trying to make things happen out of possession, and he ends up going in and he gets a ball pass past him and he's waving his arms around. He cannot believe it. There's actually no structure. You see when Van der Beek comes in, he's come from an organised structure at Ajax as well. When one goes, they know the next one goes in, and then you follow. It's a domino effect. Everyone comes in, squeeze. You know what you're doing. When this player's wide, you know where you're showing him. You're showing him down the line, you're showing him inside. Are you coming up as a team? There's organisation. It's a philosophy of how you play out of possession. They need to get that right. They've got talented players. We saw all the talented players they've got in possession. But you can't just turn up and expect it to happen. Unfortunately, you have to do the dirty work. The stuff what players don't want to do. The stuff what Pogba doesn't really want to do. We saw that on the 5th goal, when he lets Aurier just run inside him there. You cannot do that. You have to do the hard yards to be able to get the opportunity to get the time to play, to get the headline stuff, like the assists and the goals. You can't just have it when the sun's shining. You have to get over the obstacles. They haven't got the leaders to get over the obstacles. And I don't think they've got a leader on the side of the pitch to tell them how to do it either.
Let me play devil's advocate here, because I can feel people screaming at the television screen saying, I'd give my right arm for Michael Owen's talent to be able to score a goal like that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is saying, I didn't see the aggression that I wanted in the second half. So forget what you could do with your right or left foot. Aggression from his players. And why isn't he seeing that in the second half?
Well, it's a bare minimum requirement, isn't it? Working hard, closing people down, doing the dirty work.
Tim says, it hasn't happened today.
No, I know, but not everybody
So explain to the fans how a player doesn't have aggression.
Well, not everybody is like that. Not, you know, if you're going to go and put Paul Pogba onto a pitch, if you're going to go and put Fernandes onto a pitch, it's not really in their DNA to get about people, to crunch in tackles, to get, I was going to say the fans lifted, there's no fan. But do you know what I mean?
To run with a marker, Tim's saying.
Well, but it's not in their nature. Honestly, it's like...
But it's in Kevin De Bruyne. It wasn't in Kevin De Bruyne.
No, so it's got to come from the...
He's the player of the year last season. It is now, because Pep says, you do that work first.
So he's coached?
Yeah, he's coached. He's told. You have to do it. You do not do it, you don't stick to the plan, you don't play. Simple.
There's loads of examples around the place. Look at Jurgen Klopp, look at Bielsa, look at, you know... Yeah. There's so many examples of managers demanding it. Do you know what?
So you're coming back to the manager again?
Yes, oh, definitely. Yeah, this is something that you can't just say, right, come on, lads, today we're going to switch on and close that. This happens in training. I'd hate to admit, because obviously Manchester United fans are watching this, but at Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, you don't just see... What you see on a Saturday is absolutely what you see on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday. When somebody loses a ball in training,
I get that,
it's
Michael,
like an automatic...
We've got amateur players all watching this all around the world saying, I don't need a manager to make me run hard.
Well, I know, but, I mean, it's the case. I mean, listen, I was a centre forward. If you had said to me, you know, you've got to track that, I would have been split second behind everybody else thinking, oh no, I've let them... By the time I reacted, I would have... My thought process in the game was, is there going to be a mistake? Am I in? How do I score a goal? He's slowing down. He's sort of sleeping over there. I'm going to make a run in behind. I'm thinking all the time of how I score a goal. Now, you have to have a perfect balance in a team where you've got some people that think, what if we lose it? Are we in a great position? Or the opposite way, like I used to think. So, you know, I can't say, oh, everyone should be a great, because I wasn't myself. I wasn't that type of player. I would have been a Paul Pogba, let him run and not tracking him, because I was that type of player. But you have to have a balance, and it definitely comes from the side of the pitch.
OK, fascinating. We could debrief a lot longer than this. We have to press pause. There will be more on this after the second game, but let's not